Mzansi, once again, SABC1 brings you Game On, brought to you by Hollywoodbets. I'm Caesar Mabena, proud to be a part of the team that brings you some exciting news, of course, coming out of the international break. Later on, we are happy to say James Kosana is well and able to, of course, join us as we break down the local game. But starting off, as we do always, with what's happening out in England with Shane McGregor. Shane, interesting times. The picture at the top is pretty much what you should expect, looking at the last few seasons. Liverpool at top, not far behind Arsenal and City. But it's interesting going into the weekend because the big fixture this weekend is Liverpool against Chelsea. Chelsea currently tied on points, just 4 points behind the top, with Aston Villa, the two surprise sides of this package. Your thoughts on this, a huge fixture that should have some entertainment at the very least?
Yeah, very entertaining, but when you say surprise teams, I didn't think there were surprise teams this year. Villa was last year.
Yeah,
which,
they've maintained it this year.
Maintained it this year, which is a big thing, the players they brought in. But, you look back at these games and you see the players that have travelled all over the world basically to play international games and coming back. There's going to be a few injuries. We know the keeper's out injured for Liverpool. You've got to look at that on the overall aspect. And once the players come back from injury and come back from the tournament, from playing all over the world, tiredness, jet lag, so that's a big thing for these games. But at the end of the day, they're professional. They don't need much time to rest. They just need to get over it and move on. And this game's going to be a very interesting one. Liverpool obviously want to try and keep up their record against Chelsea, which is a good one, especially at home. So it'll be an interesting game.
Now, what's interesting, when you look at Liverpool over the last 5-6 years, there's certain players that over the years proved themselves irreplaceable. Mane was one of them once upon a time. Henderson was another. You can look at the central defender, the captain, as well as, of course, Becker, the goalkeeper. I think it's safe to put him in that group. Out for 6 weeks now. Is that a big plus for sides that are playing Liverpool?
Yes and no. They got a good understudy coming in, Keller. He's an international footballer. I watched a little bit of one of their games this week, and he made a huge howler, conceded a goal. But he's a good keeper. So, he has had time, and he has played in some of the cup fixtures. He's had 1 or 2 in the league as well. So, you'll know what's expected of him. And, with a great defence, with a good defence in front of you, it always makes it easier. So, I think it's just carry on. Let's see where it takes us.
Can't talk Chelsea and how impressive they've been this season and leave out Aston Villa, whom we mentioned a little bit earlier. They kick off later this afternoon against Fulham. Your thoughts on that game? Very
difficult game. Fulham have been going very well. They have been a surprise team, Fulham, especially at home. It's always hard to go to Craven Cottage and get a result. It's a smaller field. It's a quaint little stadium. It's always difficult to get a result there. I just feel Villa, the way they play and the way they gain, will get something out of this. I actually think they'll get the result against Fulham, and even though it will be a hard game.
I have to ask you about Manchester United at home to Brentford. At some point, you have to get the feeling Ten Hag needs to start accumulating points consecutively in matches.
He needs to start winning games. Come on, accumulate. He needs to start winning on a regular basis. And unfortunately for you and for the fans out there, I can't see it happening this week.
Not this week?
No, I think a draw's on the cards in this one. I really do think so. I'm surprised that he's still there. That's straightforward and honest. I am actually very surprised he's still there. I thought they would have done it in the international break and got rid of him. Didn't do it. Obviously given the opportunity. But, when you're bringing in, 37, 38-year-old to saw up your defence, then you're in trouble. I'm talking about, what's the big boy up at the back, then you're in trouble. So,
well, they brought in Evans last
season. That's what I'm talking about. So Evans, when you bring in a veteran, then something's wrong. I can't understand it. I think the draw's on the cards though with Brentford.
Well, Arsenal, they return to go away for the late kickoff this evening against Bournemouth, who are at home. Your thoughts on this fixture?
Arsenal will be too good. Bournemouth are not a team that can beat Arsenal, I don't think. And what I like about Arsenal this season is they found ways to win games. Doesn't matter if it's ugly, doesn't matter if they just grind it out. They've been doing that. I can't see them not getting 4 points.
There's interesting games regarding teams at the top tomorrow. We've already discussed the Liverpool-Chelsea encounter. Wolves, I've seen the Wolves come off this season. They're at home to Manchester City.
And they always play well against Manchester City.
Yeah.
So that's the one good point for them. But I can't have Wolves at this stage until they turn it around, until they start showing me a bit of fight, showing me a bit of character. I can't see them beating
Do you
City.
think Wolves are one of those sides where this international break could have come at the right time in trying to turn things around?
It came at the right time for them. If any team, it came at the right time for them because you needed that to change it. That came at the right time. But whether it'll be enough when they come up against City, we all know about City. Look, Rodri's a huge loss, but the one team that didn't come at the right time was Everton. Everton were on a roll. The break came. Is it going to be good for them? Once again in that game, I think it'll be a draw.
Now, I have to ask you about Newcastle. Knowing nothing like the Newcastle of 2 seasons ago, where it looks as though they'd shake up the world and be amongst the top 4, what Aston Villa's doing now for consecutive seasons. Your thoughts on them against Brighton?
I think it draws on the cards. Brighton have started off fairly well. They've been a bit hot and cold of late. Newcastle, disappointing for me. They haven't spent money. They haven't brought new players in. I thought he would have done that, revitalise the squad, bring a couple of players in, and he hasn't done that. I mean, not that they're short of money. So,
no.
I'm not too sure what the thinking is on there. I don't know what's going on. But I've been very disappointed in this season. As I say, I think it draws on the card in that one.
Well, we've spoken of Manchester United and the possible change for a manager. Do you think Newcastle are at the point where they're starting to consider, maybe not now, but long term, having to make that managerial change? Considering money and players coming in over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, we don't know whether they've got the money. He's been given a chest to spend money. We don't know that. So if he has been and he hasn't done it, then I would be looking at it. But if you've been told that we don't want you to spend any money, we don't want any of that, then he's done a good job. So it's a catch-22 situation with that one. But he's got to watch his position there. I got to tell you, he's under a bit of pressure. So for me, if he has been given the money and he hasn't spent it, I'll be looking over my shoulder.
So it could be a couple of coaches already out there in England that need to be watching their back, so to speak, with the way things are panning out at the bottom, in the middle of the table, including the race right at the top, which is rather interesting so far, which is 4 points separating the first 4 sides. We take a short break, come back, and look at what's going on locally with Jerry Kwasan.
Check these guys. Let's show them how to done. I see it. Let's have a
your feet like this.
Let's see how you play.
Your feet like this.
Welcome back to GameON, and we're happy to have Jerry Kwasan back in the crew, so much so that Shane decided to stay on in welcoming you back. So welcome back, Jerry, and let's get straight into it. Pirates against Makesi, the new boys in the top flight of South African football, the biggest moment in South African football so far, up against Pirates in the calling knockout. Your thoughts on this fixture, Jerry?
Thanks, Caesar. I think for me, for Pirates, we always say they are the cup specialists. And they just recently won the MTN 8. And for me, if we look back in the same fixture of last season, they lost to debutants in Richards Bay. So now they're playing another debutant in Makesi. So I think maybe the mindset needs to change because they've been through that problem of them saying in the Calling Cup, we've got this small team like Richards Bay. They knocked them out. So now it's Makesi. So I think they'll come into the right mind because an upset can be on the cards if they don't look after themselves.
Now, injuries are a bit of a factor here that may work in favor of Makesi. Nda, influential captain, out. Talent Mbata also been ruled out. Maswangani, you have to wonder if the form of the national team will affect him coming back to Orlando Pirates. Your thoughts on this, if you are Makesi, looking at this fixture?
For Makesi, they're obviously excited to be playing against Pirates.
Yeah.
Obviously, want to get over. They're champions of the Nedbank, so you always want to be playing against teams like that, especially as newcomers. That's the big thing for me. Pirates have got enough players to bring in anyway. So they've got enough. They're not as big as Sundowns when you come to the bench, but they got the quality to bring in. wouldn't be too much of a problem for them. For Magezi, it's a cup final. Simple as that. Pirates, like Jerry said, got to be more consistent. Can they be more consistent over the whole year? That's going to be the next thing in the league. But for Magezi, it's their cup final.
What of the fact that this is at the Orlando Stadium and Pirates have had so much joy there this season?
And crowds.
Well,
and crowds.
And crowds, yeah.
Good thing,
Yeah,
So hopefully it carries on that way.
Jerry?
I think it's going to be a good atmosphere for Makesi, as Shane is saying as well, because for them to get into that fortress, there are a lot of people that will be coming there. So it's obviously something which they will be creative about. It's win or lose, but winning would be something extra. But I mean, for them to get into Kweska Maminzela Iskoti, to play Orlando Pirates there, so it's going to be something that they will cherish.
Now, let's talk Mamelodi Sundowns at the Lucas Moripe Stadium. There's a few factors here that are quite interesting. Steve Pompela, for one, formerly with Golden Arrows not too long ago. Kenyeza, former Sundowns player back in his day. But most importantly, no Zwane. Zwane is one of those players that one can say is irreplaceable, whether with the national team or with Mamelodi Sundowns. No Zwane Shane going into this one. For Garrows, what do you think?
Well, that's going to play in their favour, obviously. They're going to look at it and say, well, look, there's no Zwane and we know what a quality player is. Will he be making changes in this team? Will he be bringing players back into the team? Will he be consistent and say, no, you stay there until I'm ready to bring you back? We'll see what happens. Only time will tell. But you look at Sundowns. Let's look at the quality they have. They can bring in another 3-4 players. Sure. So that should be good enough. Arrows have been disappointing this year. They started off disappointingly. Time to turn it around for them. And what a great time to turn it around against Sundowns. But whether they can, I'm not too sure.
Well, they started off top of the log, keep in mind, for the first week and a half or so. Yeah, it's fallen off a bit in recent times. But there's the big debate here is that the Mugwena issue. Struggled to get game time, Mudau as well. But you've seen what they've done with the national team, especially in PE. Is he one of those irreplaceable players as well, Mugwena?
He's one of them. He's one of them. I mean, he has proven it, honestly speaking, because if there was like a big talk in the social media about him being selected for the national team, hence he was not playing at Sundowns, him and Kuliso, Mudau. So look at the impact that they brought to the national team. So I think for me, that's the quality of the players themselves to say, anytime, any day, as long as our mindset is right, we're ready to play. They've proven it with the national team. So I think now it's going to be pressure to Sundowns because supporters are going to fight Sundowns if these players are not there. Whatever differences they have, they need to sort them out. Because these players went out there to say, we want to play, we can play. So what is the problem at Sundowns? So I think that's where everybody would be keen to know what is the real problem in these two players not featuring Sundowns. Yes, Kuliso did play in one of the games for Sundowns, but for Mokoena, after what happened to the national team, I think something big needs to be exposed. It's
going to be a very brave coach to leave him. That way.
I'll tell you what's interesting is arguably for me the fixture of the weekend. SuperSport United against Kaizer Chiefs. Kevin Hunt formerly with Kaizer Chiefs may have a bit of a score to settle with Kaizer Chiefs in the way things went in his time there, but they play each other twice in a week's time. Starting off with the Carling knockout. We all spoke about Chiefs after this international window. We saw them in the Kafu Cup. Your impressions of them then, especially without Cilinho, and how do you fancy their chances against SuperSport United?
Well, having played for both of them, as Jerry said earlier, having played for both of them, it's going to be an interesting game. Chiefs, as I said to you in the beginning of the year, let's give him time. He's going to need a little bit of time. It's coming right. You can see slowly but surely they're playing to his pattern. Things are changing for him. Sorry. For SuperSport, they haven't played in how long?
Yeah.
That's a worry for me. You can play as many friendlies as you like. You can do all of that. You can train as hard as you like. You haven't played games. It's a big problem. I'm looking at this. And funny enough, I'm looking towards Chiefs just because of the game time they've had and that they played more competitive football.
I think, I'm sorry with that, maybe just to get to Shane. Whose game is it? They're playing at Peter Mokaba Stadium.
Peter Mokaba, yes,
whose game is it?
SuperSport.
SuperSport.
Yeah.
But that's the Chiefs' home ground as well.
But she's everywhere as home ground.
Even Bloemfontein now against Gallants.
Wherever you go play nowadays, it's home ground.
I'm asking you, my colleague, because you featured in both of these teams and they're all going to play in their home ground.
Exactly.
So it's going to be a tight game.
I must ask you though, Coach Nabi, at the end of the Gallants game, wasn't happy. Second half, he felt they gave the momentum to Gallants, and Gallants owns large parts of the second half. Many people felt that way, even though it went to a penalty shootout. That's that trend again. Going back to what Manuma Miti even pointed out, first half, they're okay. Second half, they're not quite the same. They fixed that against Sundowns. It came back to haunt them over the weekend now. So still, what do you say following that?
I think it's something which maybe he's busy with, the training. So, but for me, I just give credit to Nabi because there are a lot of changes that are coming there. You look at the players' attitude, the way they express themselves in the field of play. So it's the confidence that you get from a coach as a player. Yeah. You know, if I'm not good enough and the play and the coach keeps on hammering me, if I'm good in my state of mind, I would want to prove a point. I would want to go out there and do the best. I think that's the pressure with all these players because Nabi doesn't take any favors, to be honest. I mean, he wants to play people that want to play for Chiefs. He said it. It's not going to just be a turnover just now. It's going to be a long term to make Chiefs the best team again. So for me, that's something which I can give credit to Nabi at this point.
So, could be the biggest test for Kaizer Chiefs so far in the current campaign when you consider the loss to Mamelodi Sundowns. The two fixtures coming up against SuperSport United won't be easy. So, it'll be interesting to see how things turn out in the battle between Johannesburg and Tshwane in that regard. We take a short break and talk all things Hollywoodbets on the other side of this. Welcome back. Still a couple of games to break down in as far as the colleague knockout is concerned. And Jayus Kosana here to break them down with me. Galaxy at home to Chippa United.
Yeah, I can give it to Chippa United, but it's going to be a closely contested affair. Chippa United is going to go away with it.
Even though Galaxy are the guy?
Nah, I don't think so. Because what Chippa has shown this year with the Cop Boys, the coach, I think there are a lot of changes and they are really into the game. They mean business.
Talking about changes, a side that went through quite a number of changes in Richards Bay, they are at home to Skukune.
Skukune to get away with it. Again, another away team, giving it to Sekukune.
So away teams could be doing it on Sunday, according to Jayus Kosana, at the very least. Now, a friend to the football fraternity, Mzansi, is Dr. Tulani Ngwenya, man who's worked to SAFA, CAF, and FIFA. He's a part of the footballing fraternity. All of us know him and love him, of course, and he's done something we're used to seeing people like Jayus Kosana doing in ensuring he's gone back to his community, Nelspruit, and giving back to the community by hosting the Heritage Cup with a bit of help from Hollywoodbets. Firstly, for Dr. Ngwenya to go back and do this, you know,
I was there and I was touched, and I felt the way he responded being a corner, and meeting him, you know, because to me he's more like a younger boy to me, but he's a doctor by qualification. So I think we're into it, to be honest. I mean, I was there Friday, Saturday, and then watching football. But the most important thing was when I saw the ladies play there as curtain raisers. I mean, a team from Eswatini playing a local team. That was the best game ever that I saw, to be honest. So I think, ladies are coming right in terms of football.
Well, ladies certainly coming right, and once again, Hollywoodbets doing its bit to give back to the community. Let's find out how it all went down in Nelspruit.
It's the place of the rising sun. It's where everything begins. It's where everything is bright. It's where everything is lovely. It's a place of hope. When you wake up in the morning and the sun rises, you get hope and you believe that there's better things coming your way.
Mpumalanga is a unique place. It's deep in culture and the love for football is even greater. People often ask, what is the sound and feel of the beautiful game Mzansi? And this is it, song and dance. Many people say that's the way the game of football is played in South Africa, with the rhythm and style. Whether at the professional level or in tournaments like the Heritage Cup in Mpumalanga, which is brought to you by the Dr. Thulani Ngwenya Foundation and is proudly powered by Hollywoodbets.
I believe Mpumalanga is a province that has got so much talent when it comes to football. However, the talent is not out there because there's no one that is showing off the talent. I had a privilege of working at the highest level, working at South African football as a chief medical officer, CAF and FIFA as a medical officer. So I believe it is time for me to actually come and pull up another person that can actually potentially reach where I am.
The inaugural Heritage Cup featured 8 teams as they competed for the grand prize of 50,000 Rand, with the matches played over 2 days. The quarterfinals and the semis were highly entertaining, with some familiar faces looking on, including Hollywoodbets ambassador and South African football legend, Jerry Skhosana.
This is where these boys will come and wanna explore their talent, because they want to come and say, I played in this certain tournament. It's the Heritage Cup now. Hollywoodbets is there. They've come. You've seen all the teams. For them to have the Hollywoodbets branded jersey for them, it's just a win on its own. It's not about getting the incentives. For them to wear the brand, getting the free jersey, it means a lot.
Having competed hard over the 2 days, it came down to the final, which saw Chili's FC and Gamhlushwa Real Madrid battle it out. It was the team named after the iconic Spanish club which came out on top thanks to a 1-0 win. Then the celebrations began.
I'm so happy. We were so happy with those boys. We came here last on June for playoff. We lost 4-1. This time around we won the tournament. We are happy, but we are preparing a team that will gain promotion for APC Municipal League this coming season.
I just want to send my sincere gratitude to Hollywoodbets to say thank you very much for everything that you have done and in terms of partnering with the foundation to make the dream of the foundation being realized. This is not the dream for the foundation only, but it's a dream of that child that is playing there. Is it because now we believe that there's 4 players that have been identified by a professional team. I won't say which team, but the scouts are here. They've confirmed, we're going to confirm at the end of the tournament. There's 4 players that have been identified already. Without this tournament, without Hollywoodbets being part of this tournament, these players were never going to get that opportunity. So thank you very much, Hollywoodbets. Let's keep on going. We still have so much talent here to unearth, and I believe that what we have started can actually get bigger and bigger.
Well, it rounds up the show and, of course, rounds up what we'll be looking forward to this weekend, including Hollywoodbets giving back to the community once again. So, some calling knockout fixtures to look forward to on SABC platforms, including SABC Plus. Keep in mind there will be 5 of them to enjoy this weekend. I'll be busy on Friday and on Sunday. So for myself, Sizwe Mapena, the rest of the team, including Jerry and Shane, and those behind the scenes, is click, click, bang.